Smile. What's next? Do I have to do a T-pose?
So listen, you're now live on social media.
No, it's excellent. That's always great.
So look in the camera.
It's always good. Always.
So, Pavlo, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Let me make sure my microphones are working well. So look in the camera. How are you feeling today, sir?
Feeling good. Feeling good besides the slight rain that we're having today. It's a little unfortunate. And besides many countries still staying on the fence in terms of the Ukraine-Russia situation. But, you know, we got to think positive. Got to think that things are going to get better.
But before we start discussing what's going on in the Ukraine, how has the last 7 days been like for Pavlo?
For me, they've been all right. I mean, fortunately, I'm not in the war zone right now, and honestly, I wouldn't be able even to go there. I actually did check this. In a moment of, well, you could call it bravery, or you could call it stupidity. I actually started researching what it would take to go to Ukraine, to the situation, and I even got a group of 10 guys to go with me. But, and this is a big but, so pay attention to this. They have 100,000 reservists with military experience. And I have no military experience, my friends have
So you've got an excuse not to attend, is that what you're telling StreetMic?
That is the excuse. No, actually they would not let me through the border. I actually know a guy who went there from France to Ukraine, and he was turned back at the border. He brought some medicine, so it wasn't a vain, you know, he didn't travel in vain. But they turned him back at the border, they didn't let him in. They got enough people to fight right now, unless it's people with experience, with military experience.
All right, then let's talk about Ukraine, and I'm going to declare, you know me, I have not watched anything, and I'm being honest, to do with what's going on in Ukraine since the war started. I haven't seen any images because I don't look at any of them. Even though I've got an excellent social media profile, I haven't watched anything on Facebook, Twitter, anything. But I'm a radio listener, so I know what goes on. So what I will ask you, sir, you are from Ukraine. What's it like for you seeing what is happening in your country?
It's not unexpected, especially considering that this whole deal has started in 2014. And, well, nobody really reacted to it too much. Putin did have a huge success in 2014 by just occupying a few regions just like that. I mean, he just basically sent his troops with no insignia and nobody shot at anyone. The Ukrainian military basically just retreated, and whoever decided to betray Ukraine betrayed Ukraine and joined the Russian side. So it was a pretty brilliant maneuver, and I'm sure that is the reason why he got overconfident in this war and decided that there wasn't going to be any resistance in Ukraine. But I think the Ukrainians who are fighting right now, they proved them otherwise. They very much proved them otherwise.
I can see how strong your brothers and sisters from Ukraine have been in resisting the Russians and what they're doing to smash and decimate your country. But from a human point of view, I spoke to you last week about your family, but you said your family were relatively safe in regards to the location. But have you had any news from them over the week in regards to... So tell me about that.
Yeah, I've been in contact with them. For now, still not much is going on. I mean, they have had some occasions of sirens buzzing in the city, which means that they should go to the basement, simply put. But other than that, there hasn't been actual bombings, there hasn't been actual war going on in their region, which is very fortunate. You know, I think I'm very blessed that my family hasn't been directly touched by this terrible situation. And again, I hope this gets solved as quickly as possible, but that is only going to happen if many countries are going to stop sitting on the fence and actually do something about it.
But we've been told about 1,700 Ukrainian heroes have lost their lives so far, and it's probably a lot more than that. We've also been told, we know lots of Russians have passed, but let's focus on your people. When you see children, thousands and thousands of children being made refugees and they're going to other countries with their mums especially, tell me what's that's like from a human perspective.
Well, obviously it's a humanitarian disaster, the thing that's going on. And the Russians aren't even allowing proper humanitarian corridors away from the regions that they have surrounded. For example, Mariupol has been under siege for quite a long while at this point. And the siege is still ongoing now. And the humanitarian corridors have still not been established. Oh, wait, except to go to Russia. But who wants to go to Russia from a side that's openly fighting against Russia? Just to be abused by the Russians, to be oppressed by them in their country, to be tortured for information? Is that really a good way to go? But they refuse them to go to the Ukrainian side and flee to the West. No, they don't want that. And there's a reason for that. It's because they want to scare the population into submitting. And this whole thing, them bombing civilian regions and doing all of these war crimes, is proof of that. This proves that they want to scare the Ukrainian population into submitting to their authoritarian rule. And it's absolutely unacceptable.
Do you believe that war crimes have been committed so far?
Yes, 100%.
Give me some examples.
100%. So civilian blocks have been bombed, not only in the front line. Now look, pro-Russian propaganda sometimes discusses things like, for example, oh, you know, Ukrainian soldiers, they're hiding in kindergartens, and then they complain about kindergartens getting bombed. Well, that's not the case. People are complaining about kindergartens in western and central Ukraine being bombed, kindergartens that are not in the front lines and that are not do not have soldiers and are not being used by the soldiers. That is what the Ukrainians are complaining about. Now, nobody's going to complain about buildings getting destroyed in the very front line. At least, you know, not hospitals, for example. Nobody, even in the front lines, shooting at hospitals is unacceptable. And it is a war crime, as I'm sure every person in the audience knows. And it's also a war crime to shoot at regions and at cities who don't have any soldiers defending them. I mean, what kind of military presence does Western Ukraine have right now? Not that much, and they're not doing anything at all against Russia at this moment. It's only in the very border, at the very front line, that the Ukrainian soldiers are right now concentrated. Because comparing to the Russian artillery, Ukrainians don't have that much artillery at all. They haven't been bombing Russian cities. They haven't thrown bombs at Rostov-na-Donu or any other Russian cities around the area, which proves that the Russians are doing things that they are accusing the Ukrainians of doing. And of course they don't accept those accusations. Of course they will never accept that they've committed plenty of war crimes already. But I think by the time this war is over, we will see the true ugliness of the Russian regime and what they did in Ukraine.
Let's talk about the war being over and the end game. What is the end game? What is the success criteria, if that's the right word to use, to demonstrate the war is over?
So there's a few options, a few possibilities for how this war could end. I would mostly say there's three main options. I don't know. Have I discussed these options before? I feel like I might have.
Well, let's discuss them now for those who are listening and watching.
That's important. Even if we said something, we need to repeat it, because obviously there's still some people who, even now, besides all the disproving that the Russian propaganda has suffered, they still support Russia. So let's explain again these three options. So there's two of these three options are if the West intervenes a little bit more in Ukraine. And I'm not talking about direct invasion of Russia. No, that's not what I'm encouraging.
Third World War.
That is not what I'm encouraging. Yes, that has never been what I've encouraged. And the third one is if the West does nothing. So let's start with the best case scenario. The West keeps its interventions to a minimum, but keeps sending help to Ukraine, keeps putting sanctions on Russia, and basically keeps putting as much pressure as humanly possible on Russia. And not only that, perhaps helps dissident movements inside of Russia to rise and to overthrow the government. That would be the absolute best case scenario for everybody, including even the Russians. Because if that happens, Putin is going to be overthrown, a new government is going to be chosen for Russia, the war in Ukraine is going to stop, the nuclear threat is going to be stopped, and the Russians are going to stop getting sanctions. The stigma is going to be over because new government, new people, new country, and the situation gets solved very peacefully, very painlessly. That is the best case scenario, but it's very difficult to get because the West needs to have a good balance and a good amount of intervention in the situation. Again, not direct, but it needs to be very active in terms of sanctioning and appropriating the money of the oligarchs. The second option is the medium term, the medium option. It's if the West doesn't intervene. Well, if the West doesn't really do much anymore, or if the West removes its support from Ukraine, Russia will probably defeat the Ukrainian army. They will occupy large parts of Ukraine, maybe all of Ukraine, and they'll start abusing the population to no end. They will start forcing them to refuse any kind of identification as Ukrainians, so they cannot consider themselves Ukrainians anymore. They need to learn Russian all of a sudden. They can't speak Ukrainian anymore, and it's going to be an oppressive regime. And there's going to be an endless guerrilla war against the Russians in Ukraine, because the Ukrainians are not in a mood of just submitting and letting Russians dictate the rules in their country anymore. And they will fight even if Russia beats the military, even if that happens, which is going to be a terrible situation. The stigma on Russia will never disappear. It will always be seen as a pariah country until Putin dies. And then after he dies, hopefully a better ruler will come to pass and the situation might get solved a bit better. And obviously, even for the West, that's not the best option, because if Putin remains in charge, then who knows what will jump in his head tomorrow or the day after. Maybe he'll decide that just the mere act of disagreeing with him is a war declaration and will start threatening nukes then. He already threatened nukes for further sanctions. He threatened open war for that, which implies the nuclear war. Now, the third option is the worst option. And as you might expect, it is about nuclear war. It's if the West is not careful enough in doing an intervention in Russia. If it's not careful enough, then Putin might might press the button, and there might be nuclear war. But that will only happen if the command and control structure of Russia is not yet eroded to a necessary extent. If it is eroded, they'll start betraying Putin. If it isn't, Putin will start World War III. That's a very difficult balance to know how to use. But these are the three options I would give.
I'm gonna give you some time to chill out and relax, and then I'm gonna catch up with you later on. But I will declare on live stream now that later on this evening, I've been asked to live stream a concert for Ukraine, which is taking place at the Cockpit Theatre in Edgware Road, and I'll be leaving here at 4:30 to set up my equipment to live stream, and it's going everywhere, and that is going to be great. And for me to support the Ukrainian community free of charge, it's a privilege. And one thing I've noticed also is that if you recall about 3-4 years ago when Grenfell Tower went up, and I'm going to draw a distinction between that and what's now happening now. When the tower went up, I went down there and I did my thing, but one thing that was really clear is how people come together to help and support those under pressure, those in distress. And that is exactly what I'm seeing with the world now, coming together, helping and supporting Ukraine. We're hearing about families being invited over to this country. I appreciate things are slow, blah, 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 but I'm not going there yet. But what do you have to say, the final point, in regards to the way the world is coming together, standing shoulder to shoulder with the people of Ukraine?
I don't like making emotional arguments.
Make them
I don't-
emotion, man.
No, wait. This is this part of the argument that I'm making, what I'm saying right now. The argument I always make is very pragmatic and very, well, political realism. An argument about political realism, not political idealism. I'm sure the people who know these terms in terms of politics know what I'm talking about. I will focus this argument more on political realism. Now, in terms of political realism, this situation is untenable. We can't go forward with this. And make sure that every single one of you, of the viewers of this, knows that the Ukrainians, they're not going to just bend over and allow Russia to do as they please. This war will last for a long time if nobody does anything to help Ukraine. And it's not the fault of the Ukrainian people. It is the fault of Putin. And if you want the situation to stop being so destabilized, to stabilize it, and to finally get prosperity back for the whole world and get safety back from this threat of nuclear war, you need to take down Putin. There is no other way. There's absolutely nothing that still remains between us and our further existence as a species. It is the downfall of Putin. That's the only way. Again, I'm not making an argument that you should help Ukrainians because they're fellow humans. No. You should help Ukrainians because you want to help yourself. You should help Ukrainians because you, I assume, don't want nukes flying over you. And nukes will fly over you, not if the West keeps putting sanctions over Putin, but if the West allows Putin to do as he pleases. Because eventually there will be a point when somebody will not allow Russia to do as they please, and then nuclear war will start.
But what is your suggestion for taking down Putin, as that's the words you have used, or do you not want to elaborate on live stream?
I do, no problem at all with elaborating. More sanctions, more pressure, more help for the Ukrainians to keep fighting against Putin. And if Russia is put in an uncomfortable enough position, if their people are in enough discomfort after all these sanctions, after all that's being done, and that will be done, I'm sure, then the people will start rebelling after Putin. I think that is the only way and the best way that this situation is solved. It's for the command and control structure to betray Putin, and it's for the people of Russia to start rebelling against Putin's rule. That is the only way that this gets solved, and the West has in its best interest, the whole world has in its best interest to influence the situation to go that way. Because if that doesn't happen, nuclear war will keep being a threat for a very long time.
Is it possible that, and I fully agree with you, but is it possible that, say for example, the people in this country, that rebelling against and that support for the Ukraine community may begin to wane when the cost of those sanctions start hitting their pockets? So, for example, we've heard about the cost of everything going up as a direct result of sanctions, cost of fuel, blah, 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 blah. But do you not believe that that support could wane if people are now saying it's costing me in my pocket and I can't feed my family?
I think it could, and I think to an extent it will. That's just something inevitable. But I think preventing nuclear war is more important than immediate comfort. Now, as a person who lives in the UK, I will be hit by these sanctions eventually. There's simply nothing we can do about it. Because this is not about, once again, I can't stress this enough, this is not about just goody two-shoes helping another person, about helping other people in need. No, this is about the safety of the world that's being threatened by this authoritarian leader who has the biggest nuclear arsenal of any country in the world, bigger than the US nuclear arsenal. Russia has a bigger nuclear arsenal than the US. And it's mandatory to put this threat down for good now, or at least as soon as humanly possible. It's in the benefit of everybody, even the Russians. So uncompromisingly, that is the solution for this problem, is to remove Putin. That is the simplest option, the best option, the only option.
Final point, do you believe that nuclear arsenal is being moved around the world under the sea and being positioned ready for the right time, that people can't see what's going on because it's tens and thousands of feet under the ocean?
I'm not very aware of that. I do know that Russia has prepared their nuclear warheads for combat. And that is, once again, that is a very scary perspective. I don't know exactly what kind of moves they're doing with their nuclear weapons. I think it's silly to assume that we know exactly what they're doing with them.
But it's a
because
possibility.
they're not making this information openly available to people, and they never will, obviously. It's like saying, oh, you know, this very specific battalion that Russia has is in this very specific region of Ukraine. Well, sure, it could be. There could be proof of that. But it could be disinformation. The fog of war is a real thing. And the fog of war is all over Russia right now. We can't say for sure how combat ready their nuclear warheads are. But if even one nuclear warhead is combat ready, that's already a threat of World War III, and that's already a threat of nuclear war. And once again, I cannot stress this possibly enough. Just letting the situation be as it is never going to remove a nuclear threat. Removing Putin is the only thing that will remove the nuclear threat. That is the thing that every single person who's watching this and every single person on Earth needs to understand. The only option.
As normal, sir, I would like to thank you very much for allowing StreetMic to interview you, and it's been great. And I do look forward to interviewing you again later on, but it was you who convinced me, and I keep saying 2 weeks ago, don't go to a protest, I'm going to learn more here, because, and I'm still waiting for it, there are going to be people, if I go to a protest, technically everyone in that protest is supporting the principles.
No opposition, yeah.
There's no opposition. And hopefully I want to see Russians down here arguing their point of view, and I think that will be healthy discussion.
So do I. I would love to have some opposition too.
But it ain't going to happen.
Well, exactly.
So thank you very much, and I'll take my microphone as normal, and I'm going to focus on some of those other brilliant people down here who have yet to start warming up.
Like BigT.
Like BigT, and I've got a photographer right behind me in the name of Hatun Tash. But for all of you who are watching, I'm now going to come in front of the camera, and you can see what I look like. Let me stabilize my camera. So good afternoon all, my name is Wendell Daniel and welcome to StreetMic, and we're coming to you live and direct from down here at Speakers Corner for the regular Sunday mayhem at Speakers Corner, as I call it. And today it's going to be a beautiful day. It's nice and sunny. We've got lots of great people, lots of new people down here today, and we're going to catch a very healthy debate. But don't forget, if you like what you're seeing, give me the thumbs up, make your comments down below, share and follow. And if you look in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, click on the subscribe button. But we're currently live streaming on 4 platforms, 4 networks. We're on StreetMic LiveStream on YouTube. We're also on Vimeo. We're on Facebook twice on StreetMic Podcast and also StreetMic LiveStream. So we're live streaming currently, simulcasting it's called, on 4 different networks. And I'm going to be leaving down here today at 4:30 because I have been asked, like I said, to live stream free of charge a concert for Ukraine, which will be taking place at the Cockpit Theatre in Edgware Road, and that actually starts at 7 o'clock till about 10:30 tonight, and it is a jazz concert, and they will be raising thousands and thousands of pounds for the Ukraine community. And for me, as StreetMic, I was asked to do so by a Ukrainian journalist who I met outside of number 10 Downing Street last week, and I jumped to the occasion to be able to contribute free of charge my services. So I will be live streaming tonight from the Cockpit Theatre in Edgware Road, where a Ukrainian concert will be taking place at 7 o'clock. So we're now going to be looking at what is going on down here at Speaker's Corner. We've got the regular rabble-rousers, we've got the regular people down here, and it is going to be a great day. We've also got Hatun Tash, and not many people know Hatun, and this is her there. And there's Hatun. Let me bring the camera down. And she's just preparing. And good afternoon, Hatun.
Hi.
How are you? What are you smiling at?
My God, please, I'm with you. How
All right. Are you looking forward to some healthy debate today?
Yeah, by God's grace.
Aye. So there's Hatun, and there's many other speakers down here who are all preparing. And I must admit, one thing I do like about coming down to Speaker's Corner, so that's Hatun just preparing all of her equipment. It seems like today she's going to be a camera woman, not a debater. She's waited.
Don't be racist. Don't be sexist.
You're cutting a camera. She says to me, don't be racist, don't be sexist. She's been a camera person today. Listen, I was just saying camera woman, and you're calling me being racist and sexist. Now I've changed and removed the gender.
Shuts everyone down. You don't need to mean it as soon as you use the word.
So there's Hatun, and one thing I like about Hatun is that we can have an interesting discussion and an interesting debate, and she's currently waiting for her camera person to arrive, and it is going to be an interesting day. So what I'm now going to do, I'm going to set up in position and listen to all of the various contributors down here at Speaker's Corner. But don't forget, if you like StreetMic, give me the thumbs up, make your comments down below, share and follow, because what we do best, we go onto the streets, we meet interesting people, and we have an engaging conversation with them about any topic. But today, or on a Sunday at Speaker's Corner, I must admit, there are so many different things I do. You know, I get the opportunity to cover. Let me move the camera up. There's my ugly mug. So I get the opportunity to cover some amazing events all over London on a daily, weekly basis. But the ones I really do look forward to is this, Speaker's Corner. And I can capture, I can engage, but I will declare I have no religious association with anyone down here or political association. What I try to do is be objective and capture for everyone a bit of everything that goes on down here. So I'm now going to shut up and get out the camera, and you can watch as StreetMic captures what goes on. Yo, big up, big up, big up, big up.
He's embarrassed.
Can I just get in here? Can I just get in here?
Give me money.
You want money? Thief.
Change the subject. He's embarrassed and he knows it doesn't belong in the 21st century. So he changes the subject.
Come.
Yes, he was born and brought up in the West. He knows it's wrong.
Let me
and
ask
it's
you guys a
sad and it's
question, yeah?
barbaric.
You know what?
What's war got to do with apostasy?
Let me tell you what, yeah?
What has war got to do with apostasy?
Let me tell you something. Now, you know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to drop the bar. Not even war. Now, imagine me, yeah? I used to live in a town. I used to live in a town called Grimsby. Have you guys been to Grimsby? Yeah. I lived there for about 7 years of my life.
Poor Grimsby.
Let me tell you guys something, yeah?
They celebrate when you left.
Let me tell you something, yeah?
So why are we
If I
stuck
go
with
there,
you now?
if I go to a far-right town, and I said,
Grimsby's
F.
a
Churchill,
far-right town.
If I went and
Is
said,
Grimsby a far-right
listen,
town?
I live
Where's
there.
a far-right
It's one of the
town?
most racist towns I've lived in my life.
Grimsby's a far-right
Guys,
town.
if I went and I said F. Churchill, do you think the far
So
right?
they kill people
One
in
second.
Grimsby because they're far-right.
When was the last time
Okay.
somebody was killed?
So as
Who
you
is
can see,
taking
guys,
this clown seriously?
anybody,
He's saying
anybody,
Grimsby is far
if I
right
go,
and kills you.
if I go to a
Is
black
anyone taking
community
this clown
and I use the
seriously?
N-word,
Grimsby
yeah,
kills
if
people.
I, what movie was that? What movie was that?
Grimsby kills
When,
people
he went
because
to
it's
the black
far right,
community.
and if you change your mind in Grimsby,
Die
they
Hard,
kill you.
Die Hard.
Are you taking
Die Hard,
this
Die Hard.
guy
Do you remember? So in Die Hard, do you
he's
guys
talking
remember that
about
movie
Hollywood.
when he goes to the black
What the
community
hell?
and he has the N-word? What do you think is going to happen to you? What do you think is going to happen to you? Do
on the
you think the
radio.
black community is going to be
Turn on
like,
the radio
we
if you wanna
defend
hear
your right
the
freedom of
N-word.
speech? And that's the reason why they bark like dogs.
No, because
That's
you're
why
Radio 1
they
Extra
bark
if you
like
want to hear
dogs.
that word.
Because they know, and you know
Listen
what?
to Radio
you know
1
what?
Extra, you'll
in
hear
the
it every
Quran,
other
in the
with
Quran,
every
chapter 49,
song.
verse 9, you know what Allah says? Two Muslim groups fighting each other. Reconcile
Yeah, we see
between
that
them.
here every week.
And
Yeah.
if one doesn't,
Every week.
fight
Look
the
at
other
what
one.
with Modine last
So
week.
one second.
Look at Modine, look
So
at
that's what
BigT.
Allah's
You can't
saying
keep your
is
hands off
fight the
them.
other party. So I
your
thought it was
feet.
just
The
exclusive
religion
to
of
apostate.
peace.
Why is Allah telling you to fight the other party? Because
Why
they
is
fight
Allah
the
telling you
corruption
to
in the
kill
land.
people for changing
So
their
that's
mind?
it. It's simple as that.
Changing their mind.
So guys, if you read the
Wait,
Quran,
what was your point about bounty hunters? So if they left that country,
Yes.
even though they broke the social contract, unlike these European countries
Yes.
that will trace you down,
drone you,
catch you,
drone you,
and kill you for treason.
no, drone you, no,
Drone you.
European
okay.
countries
In
kill
Islam,
people for
if you
treason.
leave the
They're
country,
making this
bye-bye.
nonsense.
You've broken
Why are
the
you
social
standing
contract.
there
See you later.
taking them
Bye-bye.
seriously?
Bye-bye.
You tell me
later.
one
They
European
hunt you down.
country
No.
that kills
You don't.
people
No.
for treason.
So
And
you
even
don't-
that- and that's
No,
the
can you tell me, Mr. Cameraman, can you tell me one country in Europe that kills people for treason?
The last point, brother. the
No,
last point.
can you tell me one European country that kills
Every
people
apostate was killed in
for
Islam.
treason?
It's the conditions that they don't kill.
No, can you tell me? You seem a little bit more sensible. Can you tell me one European country that kills people for treason? That's another
Why
no.
they kill in Afghanistan? Why they kill people in
One
Afghanistan?
European country that kills people for treason. No, Mr. Cameraman. Street Mike, can you tell me one European country that kills people for treason? You're impartial.
Why they kill in Afghanistan?
Can you tell me a single European country that kills people for
You want a
treason?
different subject? Where does the
Another no.
sun go?
Madam, I'll go to a lady. Can you tell me a single European country that kills citizens for treason?
Talk logically. Just walk
For
away.
treason? Which one? No, that's an I don't know. So no one knows. Oh, he's gone. He's gone. Where's he gone? He's run away.
I asked him where the sun
You see,
rose.
hold him to account for one single aspect of his argument and he runs away because he knows he's talking bullshit. He knows he's talking bullshit. And he knows killing people for changing their mind in the 21st century clearly is ridiculous and it's barbaric. So he comes up with irrelevant nonsense that's not even true and then runs away because he knows it's not true. It's the clown they call Ali Dawa.
Excuse me, sir. As normal, Wendell Daniel from StreetMic, and last time I interviewed you, it was at a Ukrainian protest at Downing Street. I'm going to ask you about what's going on in Ukraine and how has your views hardened since last week?
Yes.
Why?
because I've watched the film footage of residential blocks in Ukraine being bombed by Russian tanks. I've seen Russian women in tears because their babies and young children have been murdered by Putin's soldiers. I've seen now 2.5 million women and children, proper refugees, not 20-something men coming over in dinghies across the channel. Women and children fleeing real war. 2.5 million of them. These are why my views have been hardened, and it's about time Putin was taken out, because Putin is the man that needs to be held responsible for this murder in Europe. The murder on our doorstep.
I keep hearing people mention the need to take Putin out, but they're not being definitive on what they actually mean. What do you mean by taking him out? You're going to take him to a rave and have a dance?
My greatest hope is that the Russian people will start to see through Putin's lies. That might be unlikely, because Putin has now closed down the very last independent TV channels in Russia. The last 2 independent, he's just closed down. He's closed Twitter, he's closed Facebook, he's closing all the routes that the Russian people might hear. Okay, let's say it an alternative story. Let's not necessarily call it the truth. If Putin's so right in what he's doing, why is he so terrified of any of the Russian people hearing any alternative stories? Why is he closing down all of these social media sites? Why is he closing down TV stations? Why is he threatening Russian citizens with 15 years in jail simply for using the word war? Why is he doing that? Because he's petrified, and he knows he's going to be on the wrong side of history, which is why he's screwing the Russian people. But I have some small hope that maybe the Russian people, maybe the sensible people in the FSB, sensible people in the upper echelons of the Russian government will see what he's doing and take him out and remove him from the position of president.
As you know, StreetMic likes to be impartial. Why would Putin be terrified if he's got the finger on the big bomb?
Because unless he wants to blow it up and kill and slaughter the entire Russian population, that is never going to win hearts and minds, is it? It's never going to win hearts and minds in Ukraine. He was wrong. He thought he could send the Russian troops into Ukraine and they'd welcome him with flowers. He was very, very, very wrong on that front. Just look, even in areas of Donetsk that, people are now coming out against Russia. He was very, very, very wrong. What was your question?
I'm asking, why would he be terrified?
Why would he be terrified? Because crooks like him, thieves like him, liars like him can only stay in power, A, if they lie to their population, and B, they try and convince their population that the world is their enemy. It's exactly the same as they do in North Korea.
But
they have to sell the lie to the North Korean people that America want to bomb them, that America want to take them over. You really think America gives that much about North Korea? They have to sow this lie and sow this hate in order to maintain their own corrupt power. And that's what it comes down to.
But what evidence, and I'm being devil's advocate, do you have to demonstrate that Putin is a crook? That's your words. I like evidence. Give me the evidence.
Because do you really think the palace that has been built for him on the coast of the Black Sea has been paid by his own hard-earned money? No, of course it hasn't. Do we ultimately think Chelsea has been earned from the hard toil of Abramovich? Of course it isn't.
Are you saying he's robbed like Abramovich robbing the oil?
Absolutely. The vast majority of the Russian oligarchs have stolen their money from the Russian people. And it happened initially under Yeltsin. And Putin has done nothing to sort it. In fact, he's encouraged it.
I think you're jealous that you haven't got some of the money that Abramovich has got.
Dirty money is dirty money, and I don't think I could sleep very comfortably at night knowing that my money was filthy, stolen, dirty money, and that there were people living in poverty in Russia. I've been to Russia, and I've been outside of the main centres of St. Petersburg and Moscow. If you see the poverty there, if you see the roads, I mean, we complain about...
And the drunkenness.
we complain about potholes. You ain't seen potholes unless you've gone to Russia. You see the hospitals, the state of the hospitals. I mean, I read this morning that there's a suspicion that Putin might be dying of cancer, and that's why he's really, really bloated, because they're treating him with steroids. Cancer in Russia is the great untold story. The level of pollution and filthiness in Russia is unbelievable. And there are hospitals. There are hospitals that are purely oncology hospitals, full of individual hospitals that are full of tens of thousands of people. My mother-in-law died horrendously of cancer in Russia. So, I've got some personal family insight into this. And no one's talking about it. No one's talking about it. So,
But my final question, just imagine, I like to have a laugh and joke sometime, but we discuss important issues. Look into the camera. Just imagine which minister, Priti Patel or, which minister do you want to talk to? Talk to Boris. Tell Boris what you're thinking and feeling. Tell him about the...
Well, I would have a question for Boris. And I would say, what is his red line when it comes to Ukraine? What is his red line that he would say enough is enough? Because Putin is bombing residential areas. Putin is bombing maternity hospitals, nurseries. Children are dying. Millions are fleeing. What would Putin have to do in Ukraine where you'd actually say enough is enough and we're going to go in there militarily now? I want to know what that red line is. Would it be the use of chemical warfare? Would it be the use of biological warfare? Would it be the use of nuclear warfare on Ukraine?
Killing civilians.
And what do you have to say specifically in relations to people being invited to come over to this country and stay with families, and families being given £300 per month for a minimum of 6 months? What do you have to say about that?
I've read some commentary that this is racist because we're being nicer to the white immigrants, refugees coming from Ukraine. Well, it's not. And it's
Why is it racist?
racist, and it's actually the reverse, because all these illegal immigrants that are coming in dinghies over the channel, it's costing a little bit more than £350 to house them. There are hotels across London, there are hotels across the country that are full of people that have come in dinghies across the English Channel illegally, come here illegally without any following of law or rules or regulations. It's just costing them, we the taxpayer, you and I, are paying significantly more than £350 to keep someone from a dinghy in a premier hotel for 6 months. That's going to be £100 plus a week.
Is what you're trying to say 350 smackers ain't enough?
Yes, precisely. We're going to be spending significantly less per individual coming from Ukraine than we have on these illegal immigrants. I keep stressing the word illegal. These Ukrainians aren't going to be coming here illegally. They're going to be coming here lawfully and legitimately. Yeah. So if you come here illegally, we spend £100+ a week, significantly more than £100 a week if you add on all the side costs to that. So why are we spending more on them than we're now prepared to spend on the Ukrainians?
Will you be opening up your doors to a family leaving, running away from... No, running away is the wrong word. Leaving...
Well, I have been to Ukraine. I've been to Ukraine on a number of occasions. I've been to Kiev, I've been to Odessa. And certainly the people, the relatively small number of people that I met during those expeditions, they're lovely people. They're great people. If need be, I have got a spare bedroom. I would, and the other thing is, they don't want to stay. They all, and this is what is it's so humbling to see the Ukrainian people. They are so proud of their country. They don't want to leave. They're leaving for their children's safety. They don't want to stay here. They will be going back to.
Can I now come in front of the camera and ask you some dodgy questions? Because StreetMic is not afraid to ask a dodgy question. Yeah. Some people many people from within my community, the black community, so you know where I'm going now, yeah, have claimed that many black people or people of colour have not been permitted to go through the normal routes to leave the Ukraine. Some people will cuss me for tonight for standing shoulder to shoulder with the Ukraine community for a concert to raise money to help brothers and sisters. I don't care you're white, black, pink, blue, gay, I don't care. The question is, what do you have to say of the fact that black people, we're told, have been, no, white people only can leave? What do you have to say about that?
I've heard that as well. And
what do you have to say?
It's wrong. It would be wrong. It would be wrong. Listen, I don't see how it could be justified, really.
No, do you know, I'm of the full agreement, but I
mean, they say in terms of Ukrainians coming to Britain, they've got to have a Ukrainian passport. So that's the rule that's applied, and I'm pretty certain that there will be some people that are not white that have a Ukrainian passport. So therefore, if that's the condition we apply, face colour, skin colour should be wholly irrelevant.
But as normal, thank you very much for giving
Pleasure.
StreetMic this opportunity. You know I'm not scared to ask a dodgy question. And see this young lady here, she's been watching.
She's next.
Step forward, step forward, step forward. So, good afternoon, what's your name?
I'm Lisa. I'm from Texas.
You're from Texas?
Yes.
Is that where J.R. Ewing
Back in the day, but that's been
and
a long
Southfork
time.
Ranch?
Yes. Yes, but I'm intrigued in the conversation about refugees and illegals coming across borders because we have that problem too in Texas. We don't live very far from the Mexican border, and if it were simply Mexicans, we've been used to that for many, many years, but no, people from many countries are pouring across our borders, and talk about spending money to support them. It's way more than £300 a week. Was that a week or a month?
A month.
Yeah, much, much more than that.
So it's 75 quid a week.
I'm not sure what a quid is.
Sorry, pounds.
Yeah. At least it's much more than that because we're putting them on buses and airplanes and sending them all over the country. And they don't have to have a COVID test. We're sending people who are positive with COVID deeper into the country, into cities all over the place without federal funding to help support these people. They're just dumping them on the states.
What I'm going to ask you in a few moments is about Biden's role in this whole issue to do with Ukraine. But before we get there, what made you decide to come to Speaker's Corner?
Because I love free speech. And I read about it in my guidebook and I said, I have to be here. I have to see this myself.
Now that you have arrived at Speaker's Corner, what is your first impression?
I love it. I would come every Sunday if I lived here.
What I'm trying to get is what is great about Speaker's Corner. Then I'm going to ask you about the number of women who you see down here. See, I ask dodgy questions.
Well, first, one thing I appreciate is that I'm hearing many people with opposing views and no one is being shouted down or shamed. Instead, there's a real conversation happening. People are respectful in listening, even if they disagree and don't like what the speaker is saying. That's how it should be.
That is how it should be. But it doesn't always happen that way. You're seeing it around me, but I've no doubt you may see something different. So you like the fact that people are allowed to put their point of view across in a respectful way.
Well, of course I like that, but it only happens because the people listening respect the right of others to speak. That's dying in America. We have a real problem with wokeism and certain forbidden thoughts and ideas. And I'm desperately worried for America, I'm worried for Europe, I'm worried for England. This is a very, very big evil. The Western world is the birthplace of individual freedom that really was given to us by God. And now I believe that it's a demonic evil that's stealing it from us.
Do you know something? It's so great to be able to engage with you because what I as StreetMic like to do, I like to chat, man.
Good.
And quite often, I love coming Speaker's Corner, but I don't just look at stick a camera. I like to engage with people. And, you know, to me, that's healthy, that is great. But I now want to ask you a question about being a woman down here. Okay. Yeah. I have a concern that not enough women are coming down to Speaker's Corner because there's too many men. They feel the environment is very aggressive and intimidating. What has your first perception as a woman been down here?
I did notice that there were many, many more men than women, and I paused briefly in certain groups that were all men and wondered if I would be unwelcome there. But so I just stood back and listened, and I haven't antagonized anyone, and I don't feel intimidated because I'm not easily intimidated by anything.
Who's all these people in front of us with a camera? These your family?
A couple of them are.
You know what I'm going to do next, don't you? 'Cause this is what I do best. If you step forward, family, who's this lovely young gentleman?
Noah.
Noah?
Well, this is my husband.
This is your husband.
And this is my son.
This
my
is your
daughter.
son. And who's this? All step forward.
This is my daughter. Come here, baby.
Come forward, baby. Come forward. Come. See, you all have to get into the camera shot. So, do you know, yet again, I love this image of family from America standing shoulder to shoulder with StreetMic. But I'm going to stand out of the view. Tell me more about your first impressions being down here at Speaker's Corner. Go on, Noah, you're first.
Well, I don't see this in Texas, and Texas is supposedly the most free state in the United States, and I don't see this anywhere over there, not even in my hometown, which is one of the most proponent areas for free speech and for, what is it? People coming together and discussing ideas.
So you've been impressed so far?
Yeah, thus far, you don't see this in the United States.
Well, I was always the impression, you say you're coming from Texas, J.R. Ewing was from Texas, Suffolk Ranch, whatever it was called, but there seemed to be free speech in Texas.
I mean, there is as of now, but there's still a fight against free speech across the United States, even in Texas. And so to see this here is not only encouraging, because there's a stigmatism in the United States that there's less free speech in the EU and in England and in over here, and so we assume that we have, more free speech over in the States than there is over here, and yet we come over here and see something like this, and it's completely the opposite of what we're being told.
One thing I would like to see, and then I'll come back to you in a moment, we hear about Texas, and we hear about capital punishment and people being killed by the state, but I'm not going there yet. What I'm now going to do is go to your lovely husband.
My husband, Joel.
What do you have to say, sir?
So I think that, there's a vilification of the other side that, the social media has played a big role in the echo chambers, that people hear what they believe, and then they start to believe that the people who disagree with them are evil. And I think that has really led to just more division, and I think we need less division and more opportunity to be able to express ourselves without having to worry about being shouted down or told that we're evil or all the various techniques that are used, because I think that if we become more and more divided, there's just going to be more and more opportunity for conflict and strife and violence ultimately.
And it's a one-sided intimidation tactic, not only by social media and by Russian and Chinese troll bots primarily, as well as American troll bots, but either way, troll bots. And then in the mainstream media, this narrative that pushes division and not free speech, not any public forum like we're seeing here, but rather, polarization of ideas and polarization of parties. And this, it reaches this severe level in the United States, between Republican and Democrat, liberal and conservative, whatever you want to call it. And it just forces, it leads to nothing but violence. And this social media censorship and this one-sided media narrative is fairly unbeatable. At least it seems to be fairly unbeatable in the States. And so the fact that this goes on over here is, refreshing.
I'm actually quite surprised what you're saying, specifically when all of this social media, Facebook, YouTube, and all of that was invented in America in Silicon Valley.
I'm ashamed of that. And worse, let me tell you, the governor of Texas made an agreement with Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook. They're moving to Austin. On our tax dollar, they're coming with tax benefit. Tax incentives. I'm losing my mind over that.
But before you lose your mind, what I will do, I'm not going to allow you to hide in the background. Step forward.
Come on.
What do you have to say, my dear?
I guess I think it's a really cool idea that people can just come and talk ideas and like just express their beliefs and like have a conversation with another person, like real face to face, not over like Instagram DMs or something, but like real face to face.
Do you know something? People don't believe me when I say this. Even though I got a good social media profile, I do not go on social media. In regards to the Ukraine war, I haven't watched anything on TV, and I swear to God I'm not lying, I haven't read the newspapers or looked at social media because I like engagement with real people like I'm doing there. But the final point I would like to ask you, specifically to do with your premier, your leader, Mr. Biden, what do you have to say about his leadership of America since the conflict began? You don't have to answer the question if it's too dodgy, but I like to ask dodgy questions.
Feckless and weak.
Yeah, he's not a leader.
What is he then? Because I won't ask you if you're a Republican, Democrat, that's irrelevant, but why do you think he's feckless and weak?
A mouthpiece for the Democratic Party, and he just says what they want him to say, but he's not the sort of person that anybody's going to get behind and say, oh yeah, this is something we should do based on moral grounds, because he has no moral authority whatsoever.
Is that because, and it's going to be dodgy, is that because he's old and decrepit?
Well, I mean, his competence is certainly in question, but I think it's more just his lack of moral authority. I mean, he has proven his unwillingness to stand up for things that are right. Who's going to get behind a leader like that? I'm not.
But isn't he not refusing to stand up to what's right, specific in Ukraine? Like he's made clear from the beginning, this is Third World War if we do certain things. Isn't he showing moral authority in taking that approach?
Yeah, but I can't put it all on Biden because that is a complete and utter foreign policy failure from the beginning. I mean, how many presidents can we go back to? And they've made decisions along the way. I mean, Afghanistan was part of it. Syria, you remember when Obama talked about the red line? We will not let them cross this red line. Well, then they crossed that red line, and we did absolutely nothing. So this is our foreign policy in action. And so, yes, he's incompetent, but it's a long line of poor decisions and failures within the State Department in the United States.
And not to mention how economically influenced Washington is. I mean, there's corruption from the top to the bottom in Washington. And so it doesn't matter what kind of decisions a president would want to make, you know, whether Biden's morally good or morally evil. He owes his decisions and his policy to certain parties that bought him out and to certain parties that bought out other politicians just like him. And what they say goes, and that's just how American politics works right now. And it's unfortunate, but it's been in the making for years, arguably since the mid-20th century, and not a lot has changed. It's only gotten worse from there, and this is just the result of that.
But I will say, I think people are waking up to the fact that we do have a war machine in the United States that makes a lot of money off of this ongoing approach of the last 25, 30 years of administrations that find reasons for wars all over the world. And but
Sir, we're having a...
So I think people are waking up to that. I think when I think back on America's invasion of Iraq, for example, I was for it at the time, and I look back now and I'm thinking, wow, maybe we were lied to, and maybe we've been lied to for a long, long time, and maybe there are certain people who are benefiting that are really running things, and it's not really so much about who's in the White House.
Final point, and I'm going to put the hook on who's in the White House. It has been said that if Trump was in the White House, you like that one, yeah? Brilliant. If Trump was in the White House, this wouldn't have started. What do you have to say about that?
That's absolutely true. Donald Trump was a strong leader, and people might have thought he was crazy, but fortunately, other crazy tyrants could have thought he was crazy, and they stayed in the lane when he was in the presidency. And I don't believe that any of this would be happening. The Afghanistan evacuation debacle, the horror of that, I'm so angry about that. And this. And I've come to the point, as appalled as I am with the war in Ukraine, I keep wondering, what is this covering up? There's something else going on that's evil out there. And there is another agenda, and we need to get our eyes wide open to the rest of the world to see what's really going on.
But what I have also heard finally is that because Donald Trump has business interests in Russia, he wanted to build Trump Tower. I've been in Trump Tower in Central, what's it called, Central Square or Central whatever in New York.
Central Park.
Central Park, thank you. So, I've been told that because he's got business interests, that's the reason why this would never have taken place. What do you have to say about that?
Well, not only that, but on the subject of Ukraine, Trump made clear to Putin in years prior when he was in office that he would actually bomb the Kremlin if he made that statement, that he would bomb the Kremlin if Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine during his term. And so that was a major deterrent to Putin. That's why Putin didn't invade the Ukraine during Trump's term. And Ukraine had all those years to build up their military because of Trump being in office.
I find it very funny and ironic that the Democrat machinery accused Trump of collaborating with the Russians to get elected, and now we've seen that that's completely untrue. But what's really interesting to me is that this idea they want to paint Trump as a friend of Putin. I would say not. We saw Obama say when he didn't realize the microphone was on, after the election I'll have a whole lot more leeway to deal with you. And we saw videotape of Biden bragging about bullying and intimidating with American dollars favors for his son in Ukraine. So where is the real corruption?
Hillary selling uranium to the Russians in 2016.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to talk about that.
I hear you, but what I will do is thank you very much for giving StreetMic this opportunity to interview you.
Thank you.
There's my card. As you can tell, I'm not very good at what I do, and I'm being honest. I love it, but it has been great to be able to engage with you down here because I try to come down here most weeks, and I get bored with listening to religious discussion. Sorry, I'm being honest. It is nice to hear something completely different and from your perspective, but next time I will ask you about all of those killings in America with capital punishment, but let's do it on another occasion, unless you want to quickly sum up and talk about capital punishment in America.
I can.
Well, there's different states. Different states have different rules about capital punishment.
I'm talking about Texas.
Yeah. So, I think that there are certain egregious crimes that probably are justifiable. I'm not a huge fan of capital punishment, but I think there are certain people that probably just need to die.
It's not necessarily there to...
But do you believe that Putin, if he has committed these war crimes, that he should be put to death?
I think a war tribunal should be put into effect, and it should be a decision for the tribunal based on previous history and based on judgments that have been made throughout history for other dictators who have done similar to him.
And if that's not the case, then let the Russian people decide, just as the Iraqi people decided for Saddam Hussein.
Anyway, thank you very much. And what I would love to do is take a photograph of your family for my thumbnail. And this will definitely be my... Where's your daughter? Is she hiding from StreetMic?
She is. She doesn't like being in camp.
Come on, dude.
Come on, baby. Right.
You okay? Let me just get a quick photograph. So my colleague here, I know he might want to interview you as well. So if you look into the camera, whoops. So if you look into the camera, smile. I want to see a smile. I want to see that family smile. Thank you very much, and that was great. Thank you very much. Beautiful. See, I can take pictures as well, you know. I'm never going to.
You do have talent.
I'm a photographer, you see.
Thank
That's
you,
what I do
Mike.
normally. Thanks
This
a
is
lot,
awesome.
yeah. That is
Thanks,
brilliant.
appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Hope I haven't bored you, my dear.
No, not.
No, sir. Thanks a lot, yeah.
Painfully
Cheers.
retired.
Thanks a lot.
Wendell, can I say why I think Speaker's Corner is special about religion?
Hold on.
Is that okay?
Yeah, hold on. Give me 2 seconds. Give me
Okay.
2 seconds.
Yeah. So I come here every Sunday.
I know you do. It's good to do something different. So let me do a little ting with you, sir. So look into the camera, sir. Look into the camera. Look into the camera. So come forward a bit. And let me do something easy better. Give me 30 seconds. I'm going to put a microphone on you because I love talking to sound.
So Wendell, how long have you been coming here? I've seen you before. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, same here.
Only recently.
Yeah, I love it.
Because I'm rubbish. I'm not good at what I do.
No, you had got them to engage. Yeah, well
So
done.
when you do it naturally, it becomes easy.
And what do you do Monday to Saturday?
I'll never disclose that.
Okay. No, I'm curious.
Nah. If you knew what I do, you can see why I do this so naturally. But I never disclose that.
I won't say what I do Monday to Saturday. Is that okay?
We're probably the same
I'll
line of
tell you
business.
after. Yeah.
So just say something normally.
Right, yeah, so I'm Mark. I come here to Speaker's Corner every Sunday. and it's
Excellent. No, I'm just testing
Yeah,
my
testing the sound.
microphone from your chest. So, Mark, good afternoon. And before I begin this interview, just tell me a little bit more about Mark and why you come to Speaker's Corner.
Yeah, I come to Speaker's Corner because it's unique. It's one place in the world, as the Texan was saying, where you can debate. And what I love is we can actually debate about religion in an open space. I come here with a Bible and a Quran. And this is unique in the world, where you can say, you can criticize things in the Bible, open debate. Hatun is here. She'll say there are some problems with the Quran, so people listen to her. It's unique in the world. Free speech.
You know, I agree with you. It is great to be down here. Yeah. But, you know, we're now going to have a discussion. I get bored with always hearing religious debate. So for me, StreetMic, it was great just now to hear someone from Texas. Now you got your Quran and the Holy Bible.
And the Bible. So this is the ultimate big question. If there's a God, if there's a creator, it's very important. Either Richard Dawkins is right, we're just an accident of, an accident, that there's no creator, we're just based on instinct, and there's no meaning to life. You either follow Dawkins, or you say, and most of the world would say there is a creator, there is a God, that we're here for a purpose. So we need to know who that God is. So religion's really important. So you've got Christians and Jews who have the Judeo-Christian God. You've got Muslims who have their concept of Allah. I come here to try and build bridges, so I come here with a Bible and a Quran. And I think I'm the only Christian in Speaker's Corner who gives away a free Quran. Because I'm saying, if Christians want to engage with Muslims, you've got to read their book and know what it says.
But hold it up to the camera, hold it up to the camera, look, then you can see what people are seeing.
So this is the Quran. So I often say to Muslims, can I say my favourite verse in the Quran, which is building a bridge, and it's Surah 66 verse 12, at Tarim, Mary, whose body was chaste, we breathed in it something of our spirit. So Muslims believe in the virgin birth, God breathed into Mary's body of his spirit, so Jesus is unique. So that's a great starting point. Who is Jesus? Unique, conceived by the Spirit of God. Then I show them Surah 3:45, which is about who Jesus is again. Allah gives you glad tidings of a word from him, whose name is the Messiah, Jesus. So I'll just talk about, so I start off with the Quran, and then I'll say, well, who is Jesus? And then I'll engage with Muslims one-to-one, and I'll get them to say, well, what's your question? And then we engage perhaps for an hour and a half.
Do you know something? No. Do you know something? It is so great what you're saying. But what I want to know from you, and I wasn't being disrespectful, I'm doing this, I'm live streaming. What I want to know from you, sir, what is it about Speaker's Corner that excites you, that makes you get out of bed on a Sunday to come down here? Because I would have assumed you would have preferred to watch EastEnders, Coronation Street, or even, as the man say, go to church or go to the synagogue or go to the wherever. Yeah, why come here?
I love it. I've been coming here. I try to come every Sunday for
yeah,
the
but
last
why?
10 years because I meet people. 2 weeks ago, there was a doctor who came all the way down from Lincolnshire.
Yeah, but you meet people on the tube.
I don't know, but he came here because he wanted to engage with Christians. He had questions. So I spent an hour with him. Another Muslim who comes from Birmingham. He was suffering from worry, you know, at the time of COVID lockdown. I gave him a verse. Jesus said, don't worry. Look at the birds of the air, the flowers of the field, how your Heavenly Father looks after them. He was so encouraged. He started reading the Bible. He came back the next week. So one-to-one. And then a Muslim lad here last week, and he's 16 years. Good conversation. I just gave him John's Gospel. He said, no one gives me anything. We had a really good conversation. We're going to meet again. So it's one-to-one, especially with the lockdown. Well, I got fed up working my computer. It does my head in. I like coming here to engage a bit one-to-one.
Yeah. Do you know something? I concur with what you say. I get a buzz coming down here, chatting with people, because what I do, I chat for a living, man. I won't tell you what I do for real, but I chat for a living. So when I come down here, and I think it's important to be able to engage with people, because one thing I dislike about Speaker's Corner, you have a lot of contributors down there. They say whatever they want to say, but the people filming them are not engaging. And it's important in 2022, with the introduction of social media, to engage. And then you're bringing another dimension to the debate, which is taking place down here. And you must engage with everyone, I don't care.
Yeah. And can I say what's so special about Speaker's Corner is communication is more than 50% non-verbal. When you talk to someone, you can actually see if they're really with you or not. So it's not the same. Social media is not as good as coming here. This is really special.
Final question. Let's talk about other contributors. I won't mention specific names, but I love the contributors down here. I engage with all of them. But a particular contributor down here, I love her, and every week it's very provocative. And people don't like what that person has to say. Specifically, she's behind you now, Hatun. Hatun has a perspective, and she believes in what she's saying. I say she's brave, so that's giving a point of view. But even though down here it's freedom of speech, you can say what you like within reason, but people have tried to kill her at this location.
I was here the day someone tried to stab her. I was 8 yards away.
Hold on, if you stop there, just let me. The microphone fell out. I'll put the clip on. So say that again. So, I was here.
I was here when Hatun was attacked. I was 8 yards away. The Muslim I was with tried to stop the bloke. She was able to fight him up with her umbrella. I was able to find the knife. We gave the knife to the police, DNA. Hatun, amazing, was here next week at Speaker's Corner, brave, speaking to a lot of people on YouTube. And what I love is she gives one angle, but other people will say she's wrong. Well, great. They go on an open debate. And then I started to meet taxi drivers, Muslim taxi drivers, who say, oh, do you go to Speaker's Corner? I've seen you on YouTube. And then we engage. So this is big. This actually goes all over the world.
That's correct. That's correct. And I must admit, you know, yet again, I get pleasure out of making my small contribution towards, you know, what goes out around the world. And it's down to people to decide what is good, what is bad, and what they want to engage with. But one thing I will say is thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And what I will do, finally, is that, look into the camera, I'm live streaming on Facebook, YouTube and Vimeo at the moment. And anything you want to say in closing, you can say, because I like to be fair. So what do you have to say?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Wendell, because what he's doing is so important. And journalists and people who've got microphones and cameras, they are fundamental to our freedoms in the world. So it's not like Wendell. If he was in Ukraine, he'd be interviewing people, he'd be revealing what's going on. So this is so important. So I say thank you for thanking me, but I'd like to thank journalists throughout the world for what they're doing. And they're brave. They're sometimes, cost their lives.
And you know something? Let's pick up on that point about Ukraine. I have considered the possibility of picking up my camera and doing this in Ukraine. I'm not joking. I've considered it. I've decided against that at the moment. But what I have done in the past, 3 years ago, when Sudan, there was an uprising in Sudan, in Khartoum, where thousands of people were being killed. I actually went to Khartoum during the Troubles, and I filmed a documentary film with me there. So I've been to that type of environment before, and it is possible I may go to Ukraine. And I'm being serious.
And it's people power, and it's giving a voice to people at the moment who have no voice. And if you go, and Josh, we'll pray for you, pray for your protection. We're praying for the Ukraine, people of Ukraine, praying for Russian soldiers as well, that there'll be an end to this tragedy, that lives will be saved. So, thank you.
Even though I want to go, my family, my children, my grandchildren may not want me to go, but when I went to Sudan, I did not know if I was going to come back alive. And I'm being serious. I was terrified, but the adrenaline was pumping. I've always wanted to go to that type of environment, and I did. And all of those great journalists who are currently out there in Ukraine and reporting, I can see the drive, the motivation they've got to go there to record the truth, even though their lives may be at risk. So I can understand it.
Okay, so one final word is, I do believe there's a God who's there, who loves us. I believe we can pray for protection, that and our lives are in his hands. So I'd say, if you feel a prompting, perhaps a prompting from God to do something, if he wants you to do it, then do it, because you're doing it in accordance with his will. So we just pray that it's better we do something that's right than just say, oh, I'm too scared. We need all to be brave, to stand up and be counted.
And you know something, in closing, then I'll capture a few more people. It is great what you've just said, because I would have asked you in closing was to add that spiritual, religious dimension to the discussion, and you just did.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Wendell.
Excellent. Sorry. Thanks a lot, sir. And I'll take my microphone, and I hope you enjoyed that.
I love Georgia. I love your smile as well. Is your wife a Christian?
No, I don't answer questions like that.
I wonder if she is. I suddenly thought, I think...
they can hear all of this. I don't know. Sometimes what? I'm now going to turn the volume down for 30 seconds.
Sorry, it was live.
The volume's now back on. No, sometimes I turn it down. So, no. And it makes it so much easier. Jude, can I be honest? One thing, and I'm going to say this, people are listening. Let me do it on film. Come round there. One thing, and I'm being honest, one thing I really do love about what I do is it is important. Hold on, let me making sure all my sounds are on. It is important to be able to engage with others. People nowadays have lost that skill to communicate because of, in my opinion, mobile phones and social media. They no longer know how to talk to people, how to communicate, to look for those non-verbal cues. I do it every day and it comes natural, man, and I love it. But social media, where people are looking at their phone, they don't know how to...
And could I say, God gave us one mouth and 2 ears. And the message I've heard is we must listen twice as much as we actually speak. So it's listening to people and then we really engage.
Yeah, that's correct. And the great thing also, even though I'm engaging, when I'm behind the camera, and I've always got this on, I'm listening. And I can hear what people are saying, and that is so important. But I'm now going to engage with some other rabble-rousers down there.
Great. God bless you.
Thanks a lot, yeah.
Thank
Cheers.
You.
Would you like to come round here? Come round and talk, man. Come round. Come round.
Who are they with? Who are you with? What's the message?
Come and talk to StreetMic on camera. Come and engage.
Can I come and engage? Can I come and engage? I've got something to say.
I don't. What I wanted to do quickly was, can I just catch Hatun, and I promise I'll catch up with you, yeah?
Oh, thank you.
I promise I'll catch up with you.
Yeah.
Hey.
Allah put the face of Allah, put the face of Jesus on Judas. Allah killed Judas, but made everyone believe it is Jesus. Allah is full of deception. Allah is a deceiver. Allah is a deceiver. Run away from Allah. And as you run away from Allah, run to Lord Jesus Christ. He is crucified and risen. Lord Jesus Christ is the one who conquered the death. Lord Jesus Christ is the one who offers the place in the bosom of the Father. No one can offer you that place unless they are God. Only Lord Jesus Christ.
How you doing, man, alright?
Hey, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon. My name is StreetMic, and what we do, I'm currently with this camera here, live streaming. Is a no, but the difference being, it doesn't matter the size of the camera. The size of the camera is irrelevant. What is important is that you're able to capture and engage with people down here at StreetMic. So to get the size of the camera, I'm doing things slightly different to others. But to use camera, use sound. So when I do what I do professionally, I'm toning my skills. So I'm not coming down here to do this. The normal engagement, the large skills and following is suppressed. But what is important, these are Prime Minister that's going by, but what is important is that we're able to capture what happens down here at StreetMic Corner. I believe it's important because, for example, this is the location where you can come and you've got freedom of speech, you've got freedom of expression, and you can say what you want. But it's about engaging with people. And, you know, when you sit up to others, that's very important. And this is the first time they've been down here. And they mentioned about the importance of speakers' corner because they don't have to and they can engage, basically, and they can exchange ideas without wasting a certain room. We've got two people that come down here and do that, but some people are going to be coming down here and speaking. And I don't think you do that. You say, what can you expect people to do and engage with us? And you know, I know a lot of people. Yeah, I'm being honest. Yeah, I've been involved in meetings, so I know what's going on.
Ich bin heute das erste Mal.
مفيش حاجة قدامك كل حاجات اهو
The people who were released, and you know, I think it's not if the more people who are not the perpetrators, let's try and say let's get the evidence to a very high standard, and let's make sure that
Normally, you don't really but that trial, someone must be convicted, and there's issues to be double jeopardy made to see. If you should rather than
Young generation, turn up the speakers corner, don't even know what the argument is, can't even put the basic logic together. That says Allah and angels pray for Muhammad. I am asking, as Allah does his prayer, who does Allah pray for? So what we get to see is, young people say it doesn't mean when you pray to someone, when you pray for someone, you are praying for someone.
I'm currently multi-tasking for the people on Vimeo, StreetMic LiveStream on YouTube, StreetMic podcast on Facebook, StreetMic LiveStream on Facebook. So twice on Facebook, once on Vimeo, and also once on YouTube. Nobody does.
What is the Arabic word for blessing?
Let me just give a minute. I've got to think about my viewers and my viewers what they're doing.
That's the level. You should all concern for our next generation. Our next generation messed up, especially if the next generation is followers of religion pieces. They are very much messed up. You should be concerning. So, in Surah 33, verse 56, Allah and angels are praying for Muhammad. And then it says, so you pray as well. I am asking the question. I was asking the question. Thanks for them to remind me this question, because this question never been answered. Besides, Muslim missionary turn up to the debate and then say, Allah does pray for Muhammad. So, like, that's all it is. I'm asking, when Allah does the prayer for Muhammad with the angels, who does Allah do his prayer? Should be very simple answer. And when you turn up the speaker's corner, you should be able to answer this very basic question. If Allah is one in himself, and then can you just get our attention to the mosque at speaker's corner? This is the mosque of the speaker's corner now. Muslims are doing their prayer at speaker's corner, and there is another group over there as well. See how wonderful it is. Are you Muslim? You just said you just said Alhamdulillah. So you are already full of lies, I guess. So Surah 33:56. If Allah is by himself and praying for Muhammad, if there is no person who got Allah head or something, then the question is, who is the one who answers Allah's prayer for Muhammad? So that means, who does Allah pray to? Yeah, you should.
I'll be back when you're having a discussion, my dear.
Okay.
what I said was right. Blessings is not the same as prayer. Barakah, which is like when you say is blessings, yeah, blessings. It's not the same as salah. Like,
say it again.
When you say barakah, it's not the same as ibadah or salah. He's not praying to you.
So does the verse says? Does the verse says barakah? Does the verse says barakah? No, I think you should be the one who tells me this. Does the verse says barakah?
You're the one who claims that they know so much about the Quran.
No, I don't make that claim. I'm simply asking the question since you came to expose me. So, can you tell me, is the Arabic word barakah is used in that verse?
Is it blessing or is it something?
Here's one of the articles that I meant by. It's a research that was done in the Netherlands University show. I looked up by doctor, by Dr. Jingring, and
it doesn't matter what word it was, a barakah, whatever. It does not say that it was worship. It was worship. And when it said that the angels sent blessings,
so what is dua?
What
is dua in Islam?
Ibadah.
What is ibadah?
Worship.
Essence of worship.
When
okay, so that is what Allah is doing in Surah 33 verse 56.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
The first conversation is whether Western law is built on Islamic law, to which we have still not seen any evidence at all.
What did I just show you?
The second conversation that's going on here is
I'm
Western law superior to Islamic law,
and I am a doctor
for
of
which we
engineering,
have
okay?
seen evidence. We've seen evidence that Western law is distinct from Islamic law, and we've seen evidence that Western law is superior to Islamic law, but we have seen zero evidence, not a word of evidence, showing that Western law is built on Sharia law.
I literally just showed you.
No, you didn't. You didn't. You just quoted. You just gave three names of doctors.
No, not even three.
What's the paper?
The whole article.
What's the article?
Here's the whole paper.
So here it is. The article is not entitled. You hold the phone if you want to.
Yeah.
The article is titled Sharia law in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
All right. Does that state that Western law is built on Sharia?
Yes.
Go, show me. Show us.
Show us the paragraph.
Show us the evidence. Not a statement or a belief, but the evidence. The evidence. Not a statement of belief, evidence.
Give her a chance. Give her a chance.
Tell him the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. Where he get it from? The number.
I gave him the sources.
The number 1, 2, 3, 4. Where he get it from?
You made a claim.
Who created 1, 2, 3, 4?
This article.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave him the names. He already seen it.
Who?
Instead of what he did, he just called out some.
All you've done is quote the title of an article,
No, I'm still getting to
the
the
name
point.
of some doctors, but you've given zero evidence.
Sharia.
An abstract concept for which we found a description of proper is acclaimed behavior. Okay?
Yep.
Closely captured, most respondent understanding.
Yep.
Many Muslims in the Netherlands hardly reflect on the correct and inconsistent because we are imperfect people. Okay?
Okay.
When we what? Something out loud. So.
It's all right. You're doing well, by the way. You're doing well.
Thanks.
Is this your first time in Speaker's Corner?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm actually.
It's a heated environment. Carry on. Go on. Let you get your evidence. Let you get to your evidence.
Wait, this is fucking something.
Okay.
Combination of three aspects is quite possible.
Maybe
and
Ali
likely
has.
the first one often are true. Application and simple aspects. Perhaps another Islam indicate that they prefer to settle in.
Ali, come here.
Madam, let me hold my microphone to your mouth so that we capture your voice. I just wanted to make sure you were here.
No, it doesn't matter. The remove maneuvers of parties are within the process, and even after this.
Anybody who's watching this, you see a documentary about Nazis in Israel. There have been neo-Nazi groups in Israel, and it was pretty surprising for them. For a good while they existed simply because people didn't expect there to be Nazis in Israel. But there was, were small groups of Nazis in Israel who were abusing other Jews. You know what I mean? So obviously, yes, there are Nazis everywhere to an extent, but it's a very negligible number. And it's pure deviation tactics from the Russian propaganda, I would say. It's just, they're saying the Ukrainians are Nazis just so that nobody realizes how far right and how fascistic Putin is acting right now with his unprecedented invasion of Ukraine and with his genocidal tactics in the many different Ukrainian cities. It's just a deviation tactic. It's pure and simple as that. You know what I mean? But yeah, of course, nobody can deny that there are some Nazis here and there and all around the world in some places. But it's not at all a relevant number of them. But yeah, there we go. And I think we're about finished with this one. No more opposition. The opposition has left. Thank you, guys.
So, Pavlo, Wendell Daniel from StreetMic yet again. How's, I'm seeing you being interviewed by so many different people down there. It's like you're a film star. What is it like for you?
No, I think it's important for me to speak as a Ukrainian, as a person who has done extensive research about this situation, to tell people what exactly is going on. Because I feel like the vast majority of the people who show some kind of support for Russia, it's simply because they don't really know the situation, simply because they aren't really sure what exactly is going on, right? They hear allegations of Nazis, they hear allegations of some stuff going on, some bad things going on in Ukraine, and they just believe it because it's the only information they have available to them. But I think it's important to show them, to explain to them that no, this is pure propaganda, and in fact Russia is the aggressor, and Russia is the more.
But you know something that is so great. I know you. And normally I'll see you down here doing your thing over the years, even though I've only been coming here for a few months, yeah. But your angle is so unique at the moment because of what's happening in Ukraine. Therefore, what you've got to say is relevant and it's important. And in my opinion, it's more important at the moment than a lot of the religious discussions that's taking place
definitely
down there.
More than the religious discussions, definitely. But I'm a bit biased there because I think the whole religious discussion stuff is a little bit pointless.
Too much. Yeah.
People don't believe in their God or in their religion because they've been convinced in believing it. Usually, they believe because they want to believe. They believe because they simply desire it to be true. They desire to be correct. And to prove something to someone who doesn't want to accept the proof is different to proving something to someone who doesn't know the proof. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Point taken, but I'm going to catch up with you later on. But what I want to do now is catch one of these. Come, step forward, man. Step forward and talk to StreetMic. Don't be scared. Come here and look into the camera. Look into the camera. Stay there. Stay there. See? You can learn from me, this old man. So, good afternoon, sir. You're the sound man. What's your name?
Anthony.
So, Anthony.
Yeah.
Where are you from, sir?
South London.
So, tell me, why are you down here today with your film crew? Hey, don't go nowhere, man. Carry on filming. So, but listen, I'll do it differently. So, look in there. Tell me why you're down here today, specifically at Speaker's Corner.
Uni work. We're filming for a coursework that we're doing for university.
So, all right then, you're filming for coursework at university, and you're the sound man. Yeah. I'm of the opinion. Look at the sound I got. Look here. Look at all the sound equipment I got. It's important to have crystal clear sound. Why is that important?
When it comes to debating, you need to hear the opposing voice and the main voice and kind of cut out the background.
Yeah. And who's your camera lady down there? Camera lady. Oi! Stop being so rude. Come forward. Stop being rude. So,
hello.
Good afternoon. What's your name?
Carmen.
So, Carmen, are you enjoying Speaker's Corner today as a camera lady?
Yes, as a camera lady, I am.
Tell me, as a camera person, what are you actually looking for when you look into the viewfinder?
Well, that's a good question.
Of course, I don't ask rubbish, man.
Well, I'm looking more for like the emotions and the cinematic way of filming a documentary.
Do you know something? As you can tell by my approach here, and hopefully you can learn from this old man, I'm of the opinion that people nowadays lack the capabilities to engage with others. They become silent filmmakers. Once you learn to engage with people, what you do becomes 1,000 times better.
I agree, I like that.
So am I going to see you engaging with others today?
Well, the thing is that I'm only the camera person, I'm not the director, so I cannot...
Listen, I'm the camera person, the director, the sound man, I'm everything.
You're everything, but in this case, I'm not everything, so I don't decide about this documentary to change his perspective.
So what's the documentary about?
So it's about the Speaker's Corner. And the
Specifically what? Give me some, what's, tell me more about it.
That's a question for our director.
Director, step forward, man. So a documentary film's now been made about Speaker's Corner, and you're the director. Look into the camera.
Yeah, so the film is about, rather than necessarily the ideas at Speaker's Corner, but more so what motivates people to come to a place like this and communicate in such a way. Like, obviously we have many viewpoints here, Muslims, Christians, but it's more about the person and their motivations deep down, something a little bit more psychological about it. So the film itself is about, we're going to capture individual characters and then do a private interview outside of Speaker's Corner to get some sort of understanding about them, because there's an interesting psychology to this place overall, a group psychology that's unlike pretty much anywhere else other than maybe a protest. But the only difference is a protest, generally speaking, has one set of ideas. So yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at.
But what is your initial assessment of the motivations that inspire contributors? And I'm going to split up the contributors for people who are regular faces. They're the debaters. And there's people who promote the channels. That's a different debate. But what's your initial assessment on their motivations?
So I think it splits up into a few different groups. I think there's some people who come here because of community reasons, like they sort of have friendships, and it's like, maybe like yourself, to be honest. It seems like you have a strong connection with a lot of people.
I'm new down here.
You're new? Oh, okay.
I can communicate.
Yeah, you can definitely do that. And then you've got the people who are sort of trying to spread their religion in groups, like the Christians and the Muslims you see down here. And then there is another subset of people that seem to come down here with maybe, I don't want to call it a psychosis, but sort of a deep narcissism. And
elaborate.
There is certain people here that, have beliefs, delusions of grandeur about themselves, which are incredible, really incredible.
Can I concur with what you say? I see it every week, and one thing, finally, I know you want to go. If it's relevant, I want you to consider it as part of your film. Is that one thing I've observed over the last 2 months I've been coming here, is that a lot of people who come here have channels. Because they have channels, they're interested in engagement and what that means. So the shares, the follows, the likes, all those views. Quite often events are created purely for their viewers. Have you sussed that on yet?
You definitely see that, right? I think there's a lot of influence to be taken from here. If you can get a viral Speaker's Corner video, you're going to get pretty famous among that kind of community. It's a massive YouTube community.
Oh, do you know something? The words you just used gives me the cringe. I'll tell you why. Viral.
Yeah.
The reason it gives me the cringe, I'm not interested technically in that kind of stuff.
Me either.
I come here to learn the art, and I do other things away from here. Not about getting that unique video that's going to get 1 million views.
We're not
it's
interested
crap.
in that either. We want to make a film, but I can see the sort of the YouTube aspects to it. Like when I was younger, I used to watch it and I'd be like, what is going on here? It's crazy.
But listen, my man, I appreciate you talking to me. I like to engage with people. That's what I do. And my name is StreetMic.
StreetMic? Okay,
Yeah.
I'll have a look anyway.
I'll give you my card, but thanks a lot, man, yeah?
Oh, yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, cool.
Listen, I got back to they had you got a nice set of those, nice and efficient. Once the cabinet is sold on, but that's the same stuff, right? The content of the glue system was there. Oh, okay. And she said, and she just about this wrong. You're okay, maybe what I don't know, I never read it. That's how you feel.
It doesn't matter. Humanity in one place. That's why for me, like
You've got everything amongst you. Yes, definitely.
It's my hero.
This is like a political attack. You're interested?
Yeah.
Where's she going?
Village coach. Led me to the Lord.
Sorry, can I just introduce these young gentlemen? There's a young film crew, they're at university.
Oh, you Oh, okay. Yeah, we're making a documentary.
He normally says he's coming, but I haven't seen him yet. No, I was just letting you know they were. Oh, you know they're here already?
I met them like a couple of. I met the gentleman a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, really? Oh, I'm out of there at 4:30, man.
Okay. So you are going. Where is the event?
No, it's at the.
So is this how it's going to actually
Theatre.
I can't say for sure, but
Okay.
I don't want to risk.
So it's like close. It's not that far. It's not that far.
No, it's not that far yet.
True, let's go somewhere quiet.
But the concert tonight is at 7 o'clock. I said I'd be there at 5:30.
We're going to go and check a bit of off.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
You
have to take more water with it next time.
I was wondering where all the police were going. That's what I just showed you.
Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's the problem. Why I do not want to film it. I don't like the.
Oh, you don't mind me filming?
No, I do mind you filming.
You're in a public place.
I said I do mind you filming.
Oh, I didn't. Because I like you.
No, I do mind
Because
you
I
filming.
like you, I'll go.
No, I do.
But
You
you're
don't
not-
have to go, but
No,
I
no,
said
no.
you don't have to go. I can't tell you where to go. You can stay here.
No,
but
but
I
I'm
don't want to.
decent.
No, you asked me.
I'm decent.
You asked me. I don't want to be filmed.
I'm decent.
The Nazis really are the USA today, are the Nazis? Donald Rumsfeld, evil man. Colin Powell, one of the most evil Americans, lied 2003 about, Saddam's anthrax. That was a lie, and that lie resulted in the death of 500,000 Iraqis for the American empire.
Yeah, they talk about getting Putin for war crimes.
That's bullshit. Tony
about
Blair
Tony
should
Blair?
be.
Yeah.
Tony Blair is the biggest mass murderer. Tony Blair is evil, and most fucking Muslims vote Labour.
راح فين يا برعي؟
You must learn to be the master of that weapon, because otherwise you are like a soldier going around with a loaded automatic gun and shooting it out whenever he feels like it. What are my thoughts on semen retention? I think it's something that you should start practicing as soon as possible.
Excuse me?
How long have you managed to get without...
I believe
You've got erectile dysfunction?
I believe you, sir.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, you don't have to, obviously, you don't have to engage with me truthfully if you don't want to, but genuinely speaking...
Sir, I believe you. I believe
genuinely
everything.
speaking, yeah, you practice semen retention yourself? Okay, is that...
Get him on camera.
Sir, I believe everything you're saying right now. I believe it all. I believe you, sir.
You believe me?
I believe you.
Exactly, that's what worries me about people like you.
Sorry.
If you believe me, I've already told you not to believe me.
Should I believe?
What?
Who do I believe?
Nobody, and definitely not yourself.
Not even my mum and dad.
Not even your mum or dad? No, definitely do not believe anything they say, because your mum and dad, what on earth were they thinking? Ladies and gentlemen, I've been speaking about the problem of reproduction, which is the problem at the source. What's the gift of life? You? What kind of gift are you, mate? You're not a gift to me. I wish your parents would never have had you. You come here every week. You come here every week just to get your ego stroked and try.
I stroke something else. Yeah. I don't practice.
How long have you managed to go without losing control of that terrible weapon of mass destruction that I hope has never created any fellow human beings? Has it created, excuse me, has that weapon of mass destruction created any human beings? Oh, thank God for that. High five. High five.
It's not going to miss an opportunity.
You have a job, sir.
Do I have a job?
Yeah.
What has that got to do with anything?
He's saying you've got too much time to ruminate. Just get out there and enjoy life.
He's saying I've got too much time to ruminate? Yeah. That's what my mother-in-law used to say.
Well, she was right.
Believe in God, sir.
She was right? She was.
Are you a man of God?
Am I a man of God? What does that mean? I don't know.
You believe in God, you follow God.
Believe in God? Why are you asking me? I've told you, don't believe anyone, including me. So why are you asking me? Why? Because I am completely biased. My mind's been messed with since the time I came out of my mother's womb. Yeah? It's been messed with just like all of your minds have been messed with. Therefore, you cannot trust what I say, because just the very fact of talking about it is connected to the whole of my life, my culture, my genetic makeup, and therefore you cannot believe anyone, and including yourself, especially you. You believed yourself and you came dressed like this. You shouldn't trust yourself. What's that?
We can put aside our biases when we use the correct tools.
We can what?
Put aside our biases when we use the correct tools of reason.
Yes, we can put aside our biases with plenty of hard work and understanding what those biases are. I mean, can anybody name some logical fallacies, by the way? If you're here, get involved. Can you name a logical fallacy? Why not?
What do you think of the vaccine?
What?
Oh, that's a word.
What do you think of the vaccine?
I don't let me go. You get banned for that on YouTube.
Be yourself. Yeah, exactly. And Muslims are really subconscious Jews. They are. You never hear them criticising Israel here.
Sunnis or Shiites?
They're all the same shite. If I was a Muslim, I would submit to Coca-Cola and I'd be a Sufi. I have a book on Sufi Islam, and the Sufis are the best They like dancing, singing, sex and enjoying. What's not to like? And they are Sufi. And there is a very esoteric Islamic sect that came out of Lebanon in the 9th century, thanks to the great Khalil Gibran, who was actually a Catholic Arab when the Turks were running the Middle East for 450 years before World War I. And they believe that Muhammad, an Arab in Lebanon, claimed he was the reincarnation of Muhammad. Why not? I mean, if you were Muhammad in the sky looking down upon Saudi Arabia, you'd think, get those fuckers out of Riyadh. They're all rent boys anyway. How can we turn Saudi Arabia into an Islamic paradise when they're all faggots in Riyadh? When there are a lot of homosexuals in Arabia. The Arabs have got Edgware Road. What are they complaining about? Because it's the way the good Lord made them, man, and they're not following Jesus and Christian America towards our third great war, boy. China. Why do you think Trump says China? Because I've just read his election campaign. He is the business, Trump. He's Gemini. I want him back. I texted him last year on my phone. Donald. No, but you can text these people on phones. Fuck the government. Fuck Boris.
You're in Twitter?
I lived in Italy with my ex.
You're in on Twitter?
Yeah, but I only go on...
When did you text him?
A year ago in the winter. And I connected with one of his, you know, Republican, proper white Texan Republican.
What did you text him?
I just said, get back in the White House, Donald. We need to get rid of Sleepy Joe. Let's make our country great again and America great again with Donald Trump. Yeah! Wouldn't you like the money and the women he's got? Come on!
So what will happen to Saudi?
Saudi Arabia's got a problem because the world's economy is going green. So their oil is just getting down and down and down. I predict, good news, Yemen is attacking Saudi oil. It's on the news this week. The Yemenis, who are Shia, rightly are fighting the Saudi scum. Quite rightly. Bring hell to the kingdom of Saud, Yemeni style. And they're backed by Iran. Yeah, the revelation of Iran. Let's cheer on Iran as they kick Saudi ass. Absolutely. Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. Excuse me. You know that 10 hours ago Iran fired missiles. Iran fired missiles from U.S. embassy in Iraq.
It happens, man. But Iran was pro-Western when I was a schoolboy in the 70s. I actually went to school with Iranian teenage boys in 1974. They were very arrogant. But Iran was pro-Western. The Shah was, but he had his he had his secret police. Yeah, they killed people. Democracy, fuck democracy. We need a world dictatorship. Illuminati style, because democracy is so rubbish. You'll still be happy. Have you read anything by our David Icke?
Are you saying that we need Illuminati?
Why not? Why not?
What are the 3 reasons?
They're looking at one.
What are the 3 reasons?
People are stupid. They fight and kill. Get rid of the illusion of democracy, because that's all it is. Since I'm born here, the rich have got richer and richer and richer. Since footballers, young footballers in our country are on £1.5 million a week playing for Crystal Palace. Mo Salah gets £200,000 a week and he's not happy. Anybody here like to earn £200,000 a week? He's a Muslim from Egypt, but he's not very, not very happy with children. He's a greedy scumbag. He's a good footballer.
What do you think will happen to the owner of Chelsea?
I don't care. I think he'll go back to Israel, or possibly, they can have him. Only because of the money. He's a criminal back home in Russia. The establishment in this country only wake up when there's money. Just as the IRA rightly bombed the stock exchange when John Major thought he was running the country, then they started talking peace with the Irish. Go for the money, and we can fuck the UK establishment all the way to Disneyland. Because the UK is, I write to MPs in the House of Commons, I call that the house of demon worship. I'm not kidding you. Why do you think we have all this racism bollocks? We're all human beings, right? But there is magic on these islands, and some of that magic is black magic. Don't go to South Africa. There are no white people left. Or there's white magic. And masonry is both. That's why our police are scum. They're all fucking criminals, the police. They wear black and white. That's why I was arrested here last December by the filth. The police serve the Queen, not us the people. The police are devils. They're scum in every country. They serve the state. Hong Kong, black rights in USA. You see black policemen kicking black ass on your TV in the USA. Black Lives, you couldn't get a more racist organisation than Black Lives.
I want to ask you before I leave. Hello? Why should Iran fire missiles?
To defend itself from Israel, to defend itself.
From US embassy in Iraq.
When?
10 hours ago.
Really?
I got
good. That sounds like good news.
I'm an American. I just got information.
Good. Good. I'm glad Iran is now declaring war on the USA. Good. More power to the Iranian military.
You think he's good in lieu of what's happening in Iran?
Yes. They've been trying to destroy Iran for years. And as the great Eric Hobsbawm, a German Jew, who wrote in the 1980s of all the revolutions in the 20th century, Iran was the spiritual revolution. Iran was the right Islamic revolution.
Can I leave you with this? Republicans are taking over America.
They think they are.
Both the White House, the Senate, and the House. Next election. Right?
We'll see.
It's a wrong.
You will not hear Sleepy Joe say peace. He's a Catholic fundamentalist. Don't just think fundamentalists are Muslim. There are Jew fundamentalists. There are black racists. The media in this country is owned by Jews. Pardon me here. Hitler is back. My father served in Austria. The great Arnold Schwarzenegger, his family were in the Austrian Nazi Party. Welcome to the new Europe. Europe is a geographical area, not a political movement. As I said a moment ago, the Seventh-day Adventists are right. They're nice black people who reveal the revelation of the book of Daniel and the 10-horned beast of Babylon, which is the European Union. That is the Babylon. And if you're a Rasta, you know what I'm saying, man. And they were fucked, Ethiopians were fucked, because Haile Selassie thought he was Jesus. And he went ting-tong. Anything else you'd like to know? You can live the secret. I'm living the secret. The real truth about the New Testament, and if you're Christian you might want to hear this, or if you're Muslim you should, is that if you ask in the right spirit in our language or any language, you will receive. But there are laws in the universe that determine whether you can get what you want, or what you need, or what you have, or what you... That's why most of these Jews, Christians and Muslims are so sexually fucked up they don't know if they're gay or straight. And the more they fight against it, the more they come up against the very karma, the real law of someone they fancy, but ooh, we're all sexual beings. There's nothing wrong with what's between your legs. Actually, we're androgynous. Why do we have tits? Ciao bella. And actually, women have a masculine side as well. Look at your granny. She's probably growing a beard right now. Yeah. So the real man is androgynous, male, female. You know, obviously, yeah. Praise the Lord. Satan's a good fella. He's over there most Sundays, but he's not here. And in our language, Satan means the opposer. We should all oppose the Jesus freaks. because he never existed. I have a book by an Australian Catholic who reveals that JC never existed. Never existed. I walk on water all the time. We've had a lot of rain this year. Hatun's on the road. I'm a prophet. Tomorrow's Monday. Get down on your knees, worship me, give me your money, and in 1,000 years the whole world will be saying Nicholas Akbar. You see? You can't have a laugh if you follow Abraham, and Abraham was a psychopath. He was taking his firstborn and saying, I'm going to sacrifice you to the angry God of the Old Testament. First recorded case of molesting a 14-year-old boy. It's called the Book of Old Testament.
Abraham was not a psychopath, I'm a psychologist. He was not a psychopath. No generation, even the pre-Reformation, during Reformation and post-Reformation.
You know what psychology means in our language? It means mind and spirit. Yeah, spirit. Where's your spirit? Abraham, check out Jordan Maxwell. He will reveal to you. The Hebrew.
Christian religions never.
They're all
hold high Abraham.
No, they're not.
What channel is this?
Three religions hold Abraham so
three
highly.
Religions, three stupid.
Jewish, Islamic.
Really? And they couldn't agree on the colour of bread or the colour of shit. They couldn't. I don't want followers. I am the angel of death. I bring fear to all the followers of Abraham every Sunday in the name of Julius Caesar. Hail Caesar! Yeah, he was a. Yeah, look what we did to him. Good film, though. Good film. Yeah. That happened. Yeah. That happened. But there's good things about Hollywood. The holiest place of the USA, Los Angeles, which in Spanish means the angels. Angels. Holy. Wood. Yeah. What's the wood? You haven't said it. Magic wood. Yeah. We all enjoy the entertainment, don't we?
Oh my God. I'm provoking you.
We all enjoy.
Don't talk to me there. Of course. I'm provoked and it's work.
My friend, I want to make a statement before I leave. Number one, I repudiate the pronouncement, the initial pronouncement, calling for the emergence of Illuminati. As something honestly aware, democracy, I repudiate that.
We do not live in a democracy, we live in a plutocracy.
Number two, I repudiate the idea that Abraham was a psychopath.
Read Richard Dawkins, The God Delusion, you'll see it there. Richard Dawkins is an atheist. No God, no Allah, no Jesus. He said if Jesus existed, which he does say, he must have been the greatest man ever. So why isn't the Prince of Peace ruling in the heavens above and on the earth below? It's just an idea.
Have you listened to the debate between Richard Dawkins?
He takes them to the cleaners, as we say. He wins the debates hands down. Read his book, The Earth That We Live On, the beautiful creation. It's fact. He's very intelligent, highly gifted. He's a professor.
He's a mathematician in Oxford.
Yeah, but he's he's a biologist. You're a sexual being. We're all sexual beings.
A friend of mine debated this and challenged him for debate. He did not show up.
Well, he can't be there all the time. That could be a lie. Don't trust everything on the internet. There's plenty of people that can put a lie, change the caption, alter the subject.
What's his name? Hawkins?
Richard Dawkins.
Oh, what are you talking about? What's his name?
Richard Dawkins.
The guy, I forget, the guy had the
You can buy a copy of his book, The God Delusion.
Yeah, but the point is, he has not, he's been challenged over, and he does not come to the challenger.
Look, you're made in the image of God. What's the problem?
Mr. Dawkins is not
Richard Dawkins is made in the image of God.
Mr. Dawkins
In our language, in the book of Matthew, it is written in our language, know ye not that ye are gods. Every human being on this earth is a god or a goddess. We were all pagan originally, so why do people go to mosques, churches and synagogues? Because they're stupid.
The possessive pronoun. The possessive pronoun. You are God. You belong to God.
And so what my point is, that country is fucking racist, and you're giving them all this.
Wait, come round a bit. So my brother knows me. So sir, I'm now going to.
Don't worry about me.
Yeah, I'll leave you with the music.
You can't be coming with the tunes, man.
This is what
I don't want to dance. Are you real?
Steady, man. Go back a bit. And you know me by now. No. So, good afternoon, sir. I'm glad you're come down to Speaker's Corner because you want to have a debate with StreetMic specifically in regards to where I'm going to be tonight. And I'm actually glad you said that because if you watched and listened what I said earlier on, I did say people are going to cuss me for doing... Oh, yeah, no, I'm not going to lie, it's on there, yeah. I said people are going to cuss me because of what I'm doing tonight and where I'm going. So now, can you tell me what you just said to me?
Long story short, right? All the Russian media kind of channels have all been, what's the word? They've all been censored, right? They've all been taken off. So we're only getting one perspective. Now, the Western powers, our imperial powers that colonized us as African people, they are the ones supporting Ukraine. Ukraine, in their country, I mean, I'm not even going to get into the whole Nazi, like, you know, you probably heard about the Nazis, right? But that's a different story. What I'm saying is there's a documentary came out about 10 years ago. There's a lot of African students, especially from West Africa, that when they went over there had children with Ukrainian women. And what would happen is the families, it's a very anti-black society. I want to just get this out there. Very, you think, very, very anti-black. So what would happen is that the mothers, the families of the Ukrainian woman would tell them to disown the child, right? They didn't want to have anything to do with them. So what would happen is they'd want to give them to orphanages, but no orphanages in the. There's actually one woman in the country who takes all of the mixed race children, right, and houses them in, so much so that black people or people all over the world have had to donate and had to go and adopt them from that country, because they also say that them growing up in that country is such a racist society that when they actually grow up as mixed race children with they're stigmatized heavily. So I'm not saying that we should therefore all Ukrainians, of course there's good people in every country, but I am just saying that we've got to be cautious when we're out here giving our support to these people, because they don't really. I'll say one thing, there's a lot of black students, you probably heard this. Again, these African students who I don't know who wants to go uni in Ukraine. That's my question. But they go there, and now during this whole when the whole Russia thing kicks off, you know, a lot of people are trying to flee the country, and as they were trying to get on trains and buses, the Ukrainian families and the women especially would say, "Don't come in this carriage." They would tell them. So and it was so bad that, you know, they had to contact their own governments and had to get their own bus. You know, like the West African governments or the African Union or something had to get all the black students out of the country to Poland, I believe it was, because they were. I mean, it's disgraceful. We feel like you know, we hear about stuff that happened in America during the, you know, pre-civil rights era, Jim Crow, all that stuff. But Ukraine is like, you know, we're living in 2022, but it's got, you know. So.
Arden, can I make my comment?
Okay, go on.
And you know, one thing I like about engaging with you is that you say what you feel, and you know how important that is to me. And you was honest just now when you saw me about what my intentions are this afternoon. But I will say one thing you did miss, and you know, I've got no problem with that, is that I have said it on, and I challenged the guy earlier on.
That guy, that's my point. That guy, I used to see him out here cussing up Leo Muhammad back in the days, you know, when the Nation of Islam was doing their thing. I swear it's that guy. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's the same guy. So I knew he's. So to me, like, to be honest with you, I came down to find that guy because I got a problem with him. You giving that guy all that energy when he's out here.
No, but if I could come in about what my role is as an impartial journalist, is to come down here. I don't care who you are. Technically, I don't care what you have to say. I will give you an opportunity to say what you have to say. But what I will do is engage with you. But one thing I did clarify earlier on, and I did say, that I've had experience, and I believe that many people from Eastern Europe are the most racist people I've ever met. I've said that. But what I did say also is that with times like this, and I drew a distinction with what I saw happening when Grenfell Tower went up, because I was there. That's the distinction I drew. And what I've seen when human beings are under threat and when life is under threat. Oh, let me finish. Yeah. People come together to help and support. And what I'm seeing at the moment is people coming together to help the Ukraine community. And I was asked, no, you may not agree, but I was asked to help. And I have no problem in helping. And I made it clear, I'm not scared to say, and I've put it on my Facebook account, I am helping the Ukraine community for free because I believe it's important that we should all help each other. That is why I'm doing it, and I'm not scared to say it on social media.
When you say you're helping the Ukrainian community, I mean, why not help the Russian community? I mean, the point is Russian people are being attacked, they're being spat at, they're losing their jobs. There's a lot of suspicion around people who are Russian now, right? And not just, I mean, in this country, but all over the place. So my point is, it's like, there's a lot of propaganda. We are the same way they told us, clap for the NHS every Friday, clap for the NHS. And of course, I love the NHS. They saved my life when I've been in emergency situations. But what I'm saying is that a lot of that was it was done by SAGE, which are behavioural psychologists, to get us it's basically to get us to comply with the whole pandemic, to think that, okay, well, we need to do this because the only thing that's going to save us is like the jabs. I mean, let me not say that because I know you're on platforms and that's the bad word, right? The V word. But so my point is that I appreciate. I'm a humanitarian. I believe that we need to help people. So I know you're coming from a good place. I'm not like. Yeah. But what I am saying
that's not in dispute.
I know that's not even up for question. But I feel like we need to be cautious though when we lend our. It seems partial in a way, even though the narrative is there, the underdogs and the big bad Russians are.
But you know something? If the Russians came to me with the same, I would do exactly the same. Okay. And I think you know that. But the great thing is, this is to raise money for a very good cause. I'm not getting nothing out of it. I'm giving my time and effort free of charge, and I'm happy to do so because I'm just lending a hand, just like when I'm down here. I don't care which political persuasion or religious persuasion, I engage with everyone.
Right. No, I hear that. But that's what it was. So you win. I came down just to say
But was you watching StreetMic when you saw it?
I was watching you about an hour ago. I was home. I was getting ready to go out, and I just you get the notifications. It came up on my Facebook. So I'm like, StreetMic, and I kind of wanted to know what was going on. I wondered if I can see him, Dr. Haiku, and I've seen who else was coming down. So I just wanted to because you're always one of the earlier streamers here. From about today was maybe a bit later.
But you know something? I'm currently live streaming on YouTube, Vimeo, and Facebook twice.
Twice on Facebook, yeah.
But what I want you to tell me, what is it about what I do that you watch what I do? Because you come down here, you want to battle me, but it's in a good way.
It's all love. Do you know what is you, as you say yourself in your intro? You come down, you engage with the people. And you're all around a lot. I mean, sometimes I like to watch you sometimes because when I want to know what interesting is, what interesting things are going on. Sometimes, sometimes I get the notification and it's just like, around Christmas time you had the were they from Trinidad? The you call that?
Oh the steel band and whatnot down by
and all that. So I mean,
but you know what I'm going to be doing tomorrow?
Go on.
tomorrow is the Commonwealth Day. So outside of Westminster Abbey, there is going to be a commemoration of for 2022, and I'm going to be live streaming from that event. The Queen was meant to be there. She's not going to be there. 2 years ago, it was the last event that Harry and Meghan attended. But tomorrow, down at
it's
Westminster,
normally the most fun event at Westminster Abbey, because you have all the sort of West African drummers.
You got everything,
you got
and StreetMic is going to be there, my man. So, Are you going to be there?
I don't know if I'm going to be there, but I might be tuned in if I'm.
Big up. So give me a big up.
Big up StreetMic. Big up StreetMic. Big up.
But why must you big up StreetMic? Tell me.
Because because as I said, StreetMic's that guy. If you're especially in London, even though these days, I've seen you follow, go out with Piers Corbyn and some of these guys to all sorts of places, Brighton But if you want to know what's going on in London, from north, south, east, west, all boroughs, this is the guy to follow. So that's not really much.
But you know something? I keep telling people, I know you want to go, What I really do love about what I do is the ability to engage. Look at him there. Look at that. Resist, defy, do not comply. And what I do love is engaging with people. But what I do see quite often at this location, is that and we see it all over London. There's a lot of camera people, men and women, and I say they make silent films. They got a camera, they're pointing, but they're not engaging. One thing I do not do, I do not engage online on the chat with people. The reason I don't do that, I'm engaging with people like you. So if I'm looking at chat, I'm not taking notice of what's going on here.
Real talk, And
I've got logic, but I do love it, and I'm able to practice a lot of skills down here, and I put it into practice for real, because I live stream a lot of events. I'm one of the few people in London. I earn thousands a month from this, but not from social media. I do it privately, and I've built a brand, the StreetMic brand, that people pay me to do things for them.
Events, I know you've done funerals.
I do funerals 5 a week sometimes.
Wow, So big up to you, big up StreetMic. As I said, I what's the song? Mr. Wendell. Do you remember that?
Mr. Wendell. But I will say online before you go, one thing I would love is for someone who has the ability to live stream, they have the ability to use a camera, they have the ability to capture crystal clear sound. I will pay that person to come and help and assist myself for private jobs, and they could get up to 150 quid for 2 hours. The problem being, people nowadays do not have the skills to do what I do. And I'm being honest.
The patience, there's a lot of people's concentration spans are too short.
It's concentration.
So I think that's what it is.
And the key being, some of the events I do, you got to be able to concentrate for 2, 3, 4 hours, not 2, 3, 4 minutes.
I hear that.
Big up.
Big up, sir.
So we're now coming to an end of this live stream down here, and I angered this man so much. He was watching me online, and he came down to Speaker's Corner to tackle StreetMic. But I'm now looking at my mobile phone. It's now 16:35, and I'm now going to be signing off. But the reason I'm doing so, I have a concert, which I'm happy to tell you guys. It's a Ukraine concert for Ukraine. It's taking place in Edgware Road, at the Cockpit Theatre. It actually starts at 7 o'clock tonight. And I'm lending my hand to raise money for the Ukraine community, and I'm doing so free of charge because I believe it's important to help others. If the Russians come and see me, I will help them. That's about being completely impartial. And sir, before I close down, come and say hello to StreetMic.
No.
Don't be scared, man. Don't be scared.
What channel listen? Because
hey, I'm live streaming StreetMic. Come, just say hello. Big up. So what's your name, sir?
Listen, don't do this. Why
What's your name, sir?
Listen, my name. they know my name, so I'm gonna go by my government name, which I'm proud of right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Muhammad, cuz, aye.
So tell me.
I know, but listen, what's all this? Oh,
So tell me, why is it important for you to be down here at Speaker's Corner? What is it about this place that attracts you?
You're funny, man. You see, today, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, you go.
My intentions were, I had different intentions in it, but yeah, I'm not gonna lie, wallahi, now that I've seen what's going on, I've got different, I've got new goals. And
is it good or bad goals?
of course it's good. Now, listen, because you see, I'm a support worker and whatnot, but you know what it is? It's not even just that. It's not just that, yeah. Did you see, obviously, see, I'm seeing certain things, and I'm not gonna lie.
All good.
What do you mean, all good?
Are the things you're seeing and the assessment, or is it bad?
The assessment here is alhamdulillah, there's certain people that are coming with respect and just opposing their views and coming with their views, yeah. But there's certain people that, I'm not gonna lie, I got a brain damage, my brother, and these guys, I ain't got a brain.
Yeah, I know. But finally.
Now I've got a brain damage.
Yeah.
He gave me a brain damage. Did you see what he done?
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say, sir, I like to be devil's advocate, and I like to give people a fair and honest opportunity. So I'm going to be closing in a moment, but I'm allowing you to say what you need to say to engage with people, and I'm not going to tell you what to say, and then I'll close with this gentleman.
What do you mean?
So what do you need to say?
Say to
Look
what?
at the camera and talk. I'm live streaming. What do you need to say?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know what to say to who I'm talking to. Who are they? I don't know who I'm engaging with.
You are talking to whoever's watching online.
All right, cool. Listen, I don't know who's watching. Yeah, I don't know what he wants me to tell you. Yeah.
You can say anything.
All right, cool. I can say anything. Nothing. Nothing. All right, cool. I am the.
Say what you need to say.
I can't be selling myself. That's what it is. Wallahi, I can't sell myself right now. That's my vulnerability. I'm a vulnerable man. Oh, brain damage, man. Crazy, man. Yeah.
Big up. Thank you very much. Thank you. And do you know this gentleman here? I said to him.
Furthermore, hold on. Yeah, hold on. I do have something to say. I'm not gonna lie.
Go on.
Because they put me on the internet, you know. They put me on the internet, you know. They embarrassed me, you know. Oh, they're gonna go and find the who loves shame. Anyway, obviously, that man. Listen, can't chat to man. People are stupid. You know, people are stupid. They need education, yeah? I'm the dumb guy,
But look in the camera and educate them,
I'm
man.
the dumb person. Okay, what education shall we give them?
You can do anything.
Anything.
Sex.
Cool. Now,
educate them about sex.
No experience. No, I'm not a virgin. No, I am a virgin. Listen, stuff. What's going on? Hold on. Sex, yeah? We'll teach you about sex, yeah? As a Muslim, I shouldn't be doing it without a ring. Honestly. Listen, girls, I love my females, yeah? And, listen, wallah, I'm going to stop you.
Yeah, big up. Let me speak to this man in closing, but nice one. Come. Sir, if you recall, when we spoke...
sorry.
Hello?
Can she come? She's sick. She wants to come on, you
know. No, I'm just engaging with this gentleman. Afterwards. And then I'm closing. You did say to me at the start, when I started live streaming, you did want to say something. So this is now your opportunity to say what you need to say.
Okay. I don't necessarily have something to say what I need to say, but I'm here in Speaker's Corner. Hello.
Have you enjoyed it at Speaker's Corner?
I have, yeah.
What's great about it?
What's great about Speaker's Corner, it's a hotbed of pro-socialist politics and activity and civilization that every nation can be proud of. And it's here in London, the most advanced modern way of life and productive and privileged and happy way of life, and it's lovely.
Excellent stuff. But thank you very much. You've had the opportunity, and I'm going to be closing down in a few moments because I have to go elsewhere. But all I'm going to say to all of those who are watching, give me the thumbs up, make your comments down below, share and follow. And please remember to switch on your notification bell so that every time StreetMic goes live, you will be informed. So switch on the bell, ding, 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 so that every time we go live, you will be informed. And we're currently live streaming on YouTube, on StreetMic LiveStream. I'm live streaming also on Vimeo. I'm also on Facebook twice on StreetMic LiveStream and StreetMic Podcast. But we are going to be closing down now, and I will be back live at 7 p.m. tonight from the Cockpit Theatre in Edgware Road, just down the road there, with a concert for Ukraine. And it's a lot of jazz musicians who will be coming together to raise money for Ukraine. And if you want to cuss me for doing so, for helping out, cuss me. I've got no problems with that because I got a broad shoulder. So thank you very much for watching. And
You're not allowed to offend this
what I will say is, big up StreetMic, big up, and follow, share, comment. You must do that. Follow, share, and comment, and switch on that bell. Goodbye. And I'm back at 7 o'clock. Goodbye.
Thanks a lot, man.